Hi, this is Justin Kantor, and welcome to Rhythmic Talk. I'm talking today with one of the founding members of the seminal funk band, and I said funk, not just funk, of the 70s Graham Central Station. As the group's original female member, she sang lead on the group's biggest hit, the #1 hit Your Love, from their classic Ain't No Bout a Doubt It LP, as well as playing her famous electric funk box on timeless jams like The Jam, Can You Handle It, and Ain't Nothing Like a Warner Brothers Party. Well, behind the music there was another, sometimes darker side to life, one which she describes in her own very personal style in her recently published memoir, Deja Vu, Memoirs of a Funk Diva. So please welcome Miss Patryce Choc'Let Banks. So how's it going, girl?
Good morning, Justin. Everything is just, I'm trying to funk some stuff up. You know me, I'm always trying to, do whatever it takes to be funky, but everything is fine, and I'm so glad to be with you this morning.
It's a pleasure. Well, this book tells your story of fulfilling your musical dreams and how your perhaps destined meeting with Sly and the Family Stone's bass player Larry Graham changed your life. I know that when you talk about the music that you're involved in and throughout the book, you describe the funk as, quote, stanky, and you spell it F-O-N-K. So explain the stank and the difference between funk and funk. Hopefully I'm pronouncing it right even. That's just how I interpret it.
Well, first of all, I knew nothing about funk, the F-U-N-K, until I heard Sly and the Family Stone on the radio, and the DJ described the music as funk, and I said, okay, so this is what it is. Okay, that works for me. And then that's when I decided I had to be a part of this funk, whatever it was, however I could get in where I could fit in, I had to be a part of it. So upon seeing Sly and Family Stone in concert for the very first time was when I was in Las Vegas with the Doodletown Pipers. Sly and Family Stone came into town and played at the Flamingo, and I went to go see him that night, and Sly said, the funk will do you no harm, and he said it F-O-N-K, and so just the sound of it was so much better than spelled with the F-U. I said, okay, really, this is really what it is. Sly has defined it for me. It is funk, and to me, it's like, it's kind of undescribable. When you try to describe funk, even when you try to describe soul, it's really not anything you can describe with words. It's more like something that you feel, that the music invokes this feeling in you, and so it's more of a feeling than really like anything that you can describe with words. But the closest way you can come to understanding what funk is by the look on a musician's face when he's playing the music. That look like something is just stinking to high heaven. And another way I describe it in my book is, I don't know if anybody out there is familiar with Magic Shave, but Magic Shave. Okay. So
I mean, I don't know a lot about it. I've seen references to it a lot throughout the years.
Magic Shave is this product that black men, put on their face, used to put on their face when they had trouble getting the close shave that they wanted. So this substance that they would mix together and put on their face, and they would kind of melt the hair off of their face. But that was some of the stinkiest stuff I believe in creation.
Okay, good analogy. What made you decide to write Deja Vu? Was there a specific instance, or what got you to the point where you said, I want to tell my story?
Okay, well, I have always written. I've always been that little girl that has always kept diaries and journals. So I've written songs, poetry, all that. So for most of my life, I have chronicled, major things that have happened. So Deja Vu was something that I've been writing. I've been writing this book ever since I first left Graham Central Station, which was in '76. I was gonna hurry up and write this book, but then life happens to you, and my life, it took another direction. So, in order to write a book, you have to find time, and you have to be still at least a little while to get it started. So I just finally, it was something inside of me that would not let me rest. This book would not let me rest until I finally got the words down on the pages, and this finally happened like 2 years ago, and I released it last summer.
And in the midst of that, you ended up singing on a classic Sly recording, Love and Hate, right? From
Right.
There's a Riot Going On. So was that like your first big studio session, or like released one or professional one?
That was my first big one. Yes, it was. And it was also the events surrounding it. Like Larry and I did the backgrounds to that song, like at 4 o'clock in the morning, something like 4:30 in the morning, because when recording with Sly, you had to do it on his schedule,
Right.
and no matter what time of the day or night it may be, it had to be when Sly was ready. So that particular morning, I think it was about 4, somewhere between 3 and 5 in the morning, we were up singing, because Larry and I were the only ones there in Sly's home in Bel Air. Everybody was gone. They had left at that point. So Larry and I were the only ones left. So we were chosen. It was our turn. So we got up there and we did the background vocals. And I was just too thrilled to be able to actually be on a Sly and Family Stone recording.
Yeah, a true piece of history. I mean, now, in addition to vocalizing in your style, your signature style, you developed kind of a trademark by playing a special drum machine that came to be known as the funk box. So for those not as familiar with that or with Graham Central Station, what exactly was the funk box and how was it played?
Okay. Well, if I'm not mistaken, I think the funk box was one of the first drum machines made.
Okay.
Sly used it a lot on his recordings too. But when it was incorporated in Grand Central Station, I just didn't want to like be a chick singer standing up there singing and hitting the tambourine every once in a while. I wanted to be a part of the music, and so the way I could do that was by playing the funk box, the Rhythm King. It was made by Rhythm King, and it could be either manually set to do play automatically, or it had manual buttons. And the manual buttons are the ones that I played, which allowed me to play my own rhythms. It had all the different sounds of percussions and drums on it, so it allowed me to play my own rhythms, with the rest of the guys in the songs. So I was a part of the music. I was a part of the beat. I was a part of the sound. And so that's what the Rhythm King was.
So was it like each beat that you played, you were pressing a different button, or you would press one and it would go for a while, or I mean, was it?
Each button was a different sound, and there are about, I'd say about 15 buttons. And each button was a different sound of the drums. There's a cymbal, a bass, a snare, and then you have percussion buttons like the conga, like that. So each button had its own sound.
So kind of like an early synthesizer in a way?
Right.
Okay. And it was like plugged in to some power source, I guess?
Right.
Okay. So let's talk about the lineup when Graham Central Station, as it became known to be. So we had you, Larry Graham, of course, Herschel Happiness Kennedy, Robert Butch Sam, who just passed away recently, David Dynamite Vega, and Willie Wild Sparks. How would you describe the chemistry of that lineup when it was beginning as Graham Central Station?
Well, that's before I talk about that, I want to talk about that was exactly the original. There was one other version of Graham Central Station when Larry first joined the group. Neil, Sean, and Gregorico were in the group at first. And that was really a blast, but that didn't last long because between Neil and Larry and Gregorico's egos, but while it did last, I have recordings of that, and while it was happening, it was like surreal too. It was also surreal to be able to play with Greg and then Neil Sean. He was a young boy, but he was in there playing with veterans like he had been, playing with them all of his life.
And Neil was playing which instrument?
He was playing the guitar.
Guitar, okay.
And then he later on He later went on to be in a group called Journey.
Oh, wow. I didn't realize
Yeah,
that
yeah,
he was
that
that same
narrows
guy.